Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you all so much for joining us for our April Sip and Pitch Friday. My name is Carly Specht. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm Associate Director of Affiliate Relations and External Affairs here at the NGLCC. Today is a very special Pride Guide edition of Spin Pitch Fridays. So we're going to be hearing several pitches from suppliers in the apparel, events, food and beverage, gifts, and promotional products industries ahead of Pride Month in June. And before we get into the rules and guidelines for today's program, I'm excited to introduce our three incredible judges here with us today. So we have Jay Edwards from GSK, Sherry Shafir from AMC Networks, and Bradley Brown from United. Thank you all so much for being here and serving as judges today. Now I'm just going to go over some rules and guidelines for the presentations. So first, each company will have 5 minutes to pitch. I will have a timer up on my screen that will count down during each presentation, and then I will also unmute myself to remind presenters when they have 30 seconds left. Next, we'll have just one presenter from each participating company. And then after, judges will have 10 minutes for feedback and Q&A. And then if presenters don't have a presentation, that's no problem. This program is designed to be informal to provide real-time feedback for the company's pitches. And also, this is a reminder to please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And this is a judgment-free zone. This program is designed to help you enhance your pitch and grow your business. So of course, all feedback is shared in the spirit of collaboration. And lastly, and most importantly, have fun. Feel free to grab your beverage of choice and enjoy this last Friday of the month as we hear from some incredible suppliers. So first up, we have Erica from Sealed by Love Candle Company. Erica, do you have a presentation you're going to be using?
I do, and I will definitely need a drink after I'm done.
Well, you get to go first and get it out of the way, right?
Yes. All right, let's get started.
I'm going to cover my camera and get my timer up on the screen, but you can just get started whenever you're ready, and then I'll start my timer.
Okay, can everyone see that?
Yep.
All right. Hi, I am Erica, owner and founder of Sealed by Love Candle Company. And so my pitch is all about candles and wax melts and room sprays. And so it's time to light your fire, pun intended. All right, so Sealed by Love Candle Company is a small batch, non-toxic candle company that was founded in 2020. We specialize in luxurious candles and wax melts and room sprays and room diffusers that are centered around self-care and mental well-being. Our mission is not to just provide high quality candles or candle products, but as a means to enhance your home environment, enhance your personal care routine, enhance your mental well-being, and also enhance your just everyday life. You want to, get up and clean the kitchen on a Saturday morning, we have a candle for that. Our values are centered around self-care and mental well-being. We are a Black woman, LGBTQ owned business. And our mission, like I mentioned, is for self-care and mental well-being. But I thought to myself, how can I create a luxury scented candle that people will enjoy and come back for consistently, no matter how many candles they have, that has less toxins, that are easy on the senses, allergies, kids, pets, but yet provide tranquility, safety, and comfort all within your home. And it all has to do with testing and time. All right, so how it all started. I was actually standing in a home goods store, purchasing 7 to 10 candles. I've loved candles. I've been lighting candles since I was about 8 or 9. Please don't tell my mother. And I've just enjoyed them, like the scent. It's very relaxing for me. And so I was standing in line at Home Goods with about 7 or 8 candles. And I was thinking, I was reading the warnings that they have, and I was thinking, how can I make these less hazardous, I guess, because a lot of store-bought candles have a lot of toxins, a lot of soot and things that aren't good for the air that you breathe in at home. And so, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, a lot of our products are focused on self-care. So one of my best sellers is our Rise and Shine candle that has lemongrass essential oil. I found that a lot of people love it. We make our products from a premium luxury coconut apricot wax, which burns evenly and smoothly. It has less soot, it has less toxins. It's vegan. It's a lot creamier. So, if you happen to get, some of the candle on your skin, I actually just kind of rub it in. It doesn't cause any irritation. And I love it. So I actually had a customer share that purchasing our Rise and Shine lemongrass candle actually helped her relax at the end of the day. Now, lemongrass is mostly for energy and waking up the senses, but it had the opposite effect on her, and I absolutely loved it. Another of our product line consists of seasonal offerings. So spring, summer, fall, and winter. One of my favorites this last season was our Fraser Mountain candle. It has that mountainy pine smell, and people just love it. I have another one. It's called Mint Magic. It's eucalyptus and spearmint. That's also part of our self-care line.
30 seconds.
Okay. And then why mental health matters to us. Like I said, I am huge on it. I think it just, I think everyone needs a ritual to help their mental health, to help their well-being, to whatever practice that is. And so I try to present candles and wax melt and room sprays to help with those. And then I'll just go to another one of our favorites. We have a Backyard Tropics. We have a wax melt collection. There we go.
Thank you so much, Erica. That was great. And I'm going to turn it over to our judges for their feedback now. Bradley, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Great presentation, Erica. This is amazing. I'm a big candle fan myself, so this was a treat for me to get a chance to learn a little bit more about you and your candle business. A few questions that I had that kind of popped to mind. One, where can I find these candles? As I'm like looking into the World Wide Web, where can we find you? Are you already in stores? Are you online? Where would I
Online. Online. Have a website, yes.
Perfect. And then are you manufacturing these candles yourself, or are you working with a third-party manufacturer to help you kind of produce these products?
Myself. Yep. Everything is handmade.
I love that. That's amazing. And then I guess the last question, you kind of touched on it a bit, but obviously candles can come in a myriad of different fragrances. Where do you draw your fragrance inspiration from?
Oh, that's a good question. I just kind of draw from whatever scent I'm using, or like on a mood or intention.
Okay, that's interesting. That's all the questions I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bradley. Jay, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, Erica. Great presentation. I love the personal story. You can never go wrong with sharing your personal story. To jump on Bradley's first question about your distribution modeling, you said it's e-commerce online. Could you share how you plan to scale?
That's a good question. I don't know yet.
Okay. And we can come back to that. Another quick question that I have for you is, so what traction or milestone have you achieved so far throughout your business?
So traction, I do a lot of local events, like pop-up events, and then just vendor events around my city. I've gotten a lot of repeat customers, customers that order online, customers that once they see I'm at an event, come there to that event specifically to repurchase or try a new candle.
And the last question I have is, so how will you, what is your biggest risk? What are the biggest risks to your business, and how are you planning to mitigate them?
Oh, I think my biggest risk is appealing more to individuals with young kids or pets. I think how I plan to mitigate that is just, that's why I started offering wax melts and room sprays and diffusers, so other products, so that way everyone is included.
Thanks so much for your questions and your feedback, Jay. Sherry, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, well, I really loved your pitch in general. It resonated. So I think that was great. It made me, because I think a lot of people are struggling in 2025. I don't know why, but we just are, and we need our candles, and we probably need a candle all the time. In fact, I lit a candle from a Black-owned business that I met like an hour ago. It's in the other room though, so I already have my candle going. So great job. I have a few questions. Well, a comment would be always advertise, maybe on every page of your presentation, so it's very clear, because at the end of the day, you're selling this and you want to grab the people immediately. So I would definitely make sure every presentation, every page had your website, since that is the sole way they buy it. I know it's a luxury brand, and I have a daughter, so I know how much candles cost, and the crazy prices, even before I got fancy with candles. So my question would be, are you competitively priced within the luxury brand? So in other words, would it be between like $30 and $50? And also, like, what kind of sizes? Do you have different varieties of sizes? Some people might be thinking, I want to spend $30. And it could be like a cute small box versus a bigger size for like a holiday gift, or an employee gift, or a client gift package. So how do you do that? Like, are there volume discounts if you buy? So that could be something you could have on a slide, is talk about like price, because that's also a trigger. Like, no one's just going to buy something without knowing the cost. So maybe there could be a way to promote volume discounts, or, coming in different sizes, or, so do you do any of those things?
Yes, I do believe I am competitively priced. I did do a lot of research for the candle market, and I do offer different sizes that range from 4 ounces to the biggest one I have is a 32 ounce, ranging from, $12 to $42.
That's really good. And so that would be like really appealing. So somebody's like, oh, I could buy 30 gifts at $12 for these, for these business clients. And I could also, for my really important clients, I can afford the $42 item. And if I buy 2 dozen, I can save 10% or 15%. So that could be something. You could have a slide in your pitch to talk about, we have a luxury candle for all your price ranges, for, different, depending on what your needs are. That could be a way to push, get volume. You don't want someone to buy 1 candle. I would think you'd want people to buy like 20 candles, and think about it from a business perspective. Let's see. I talked about volume discounts, different sizes. I don't know what a wax melt is. I mean, I probably do, but because you're calling things something, so it might help to, I know you showed a picture, but I still didn't understand. Is a wax melt something that goes into something else that you already have?
Yeah, so it's like a 6 snap. It looks kind of like a Hershey bar.
Yeah.
And you just break off a piece or a couple and put them into a wax melt warmer.
Is the benefit of you have to you sell the wax melt warmer, or you?
At this time, I do not.
Okay, so maybe you might want to say, is there a benefit, like you save money if you do that? Is it less expensive?
They
Like, why would somebody get that?
they are usually cheaper, and also they are great for parents who have younger kids or pets running around, because you just plug it in kind of out the way, but it still fills the room like a candle would without the flame.
So that would be a good thing to maybe say, have something like, this is safer, like to talk up the benefit of that for pets. And so in other words, you have something for everybody. There's basically, you're overcoming any objection. It's like, you have to buy my candle. You want to be healthy, you want to be kind to your pets and your family, and it's non-toxic. So it's a great, so I think you can enhance your pitch a little bit, but overall, I think, that you're offering a great product, that there's no reason why someone couldn't consider that. They also, maybe if you come to NGLCC, people can actually smell the product. Because, again, it's like you see it, you talk about it. The last thing is people want to smell it. So that's a little bit of a negative. If you're buying online, you kind of got to just trust, like, okay, I'll just try one. I'll try the most popular one before I buy 50, versus they can go to a store. Are you thinking about selling it, if you could, through like a company, or partner with like a Ballady promotion or an outbranding, that they can label it with put their company logo on it?
Not yet. I have thought about getting in local stores in the Madison area. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I won't ask anymore. I think it was great. I want to get a booth in the conference. I'm going to stop by. I want to walk away with it to go home. I want to smell it and buy it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the goal, is for visitors to your booth. I'm sorry, Carly, to smell it and want to walk away buying, want to walk away leaving with a candle. And to Sherry's point, maybe there's a discount. You buy 2 or you buy 3 or whatever that is. So what is the deal that customers can get in terms of buying your product? That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Erica, and thank you so much to our judges. Next up, we have Rachel from Pride Socks. Rachel, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and share your screen if you're going to be using a presentation.
Can you see?
Yep, and you
Okay.
can go ahead and get started whenever you're ready, and then I'll get the timer started.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Smith, founder of Pride Socks and inspirational speaker. I am passionate about helping people own their stories and walk boldly in who they are. I'm so honored to be here with the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce to share how we're sparking change, one sock, one story, and one step at a time. Sorry. At Pride Socks, we empower individuals to take pride in who they are. We believe pride isn't just about identity, it's about your resilience. It's honoring your journey, your challenges, and your voice. We're more than just a sock brand. Every pair we design is a symbol and celebration of who you are and how far you've come. What started as a simple challenge for my brother, who also owns a sock company, has grown into something so much bigger, a movement. It's rooted in my own story. I was raised hearing in the deaf culture long before technology, which meant I was literally my parents' voice, interpreting everyday conversations, doctor visits, and even TV shows. I learned early on what it meant to help others feel seen and understood. The world denied my parents basic rights and opportunities simply because they could not hear, and because I merged their worlds together through language, the world was indirectly telling me no my entire life as well. Then came the coach who believed in me when I didn't know how to believe in myself. Her belief in me changed the trajectory of my life. Later, as a high school special education teacher, I saw again and again how life-changing it is when someone feels seen, valued, and heard. And when I put all these experiences together, they form the heartbeat of what I do, creating spaces for people to use the power of their voice to own their stories and take pride in who they are. Being seen isn't just powerful, it's transformational. At Pride Talks, we empower, or we invite people to share what they're proud of, creating space for connection, empowerment, and healing. And whether you're LGBTQIA or an ally, your story matters and it has the power to inspire someone else to stand tall in theirs. We've seen firsthand how visibility changes lives. Our socks have been worn on the field, in classrooms, at pride parades, and in quiet moments of self-reflection. And through our storytelling platform, thousands have shared what makes them proud, which inevitably opens doors for someone else to start their journey. And some of these powerful stories include someone losing 100 pounds, to discovering the outdoors, to coming out as trans, and to being a proud mother. And if you're like Melinda, beating cancer and realizing your story just doesn't stop there, it opened doors for her to help others see they too can turn the page and start a new chapter in life. Every story is unique and worthy to share. And as a brand, we empower individuals to take pride in theirs. We've collaborated with companies like Dell, Point Foundation, and Ruby's Rainbow, not just to sell socks, but to foster inclusive conversations, fund social change, and create in-person experiences that help people feel seen and celebrated. And as a speaker, I bring all of these stories into boardrooms, classrooms, and retreats, guiding people, excuse me, guiding people to reflect on their journey and connect with others through their own powerful moments. It's not just about being proud of who you are, it's about recognizing that pride builds resilience and resilience builds connection and community. If you're looking to connect with a diverse supplier, elevate LGBTQIA voices or allies, or inject more meaning into your workplace culture, I'd love to talk. Whether it's through co-branded products, speaking engagements or workshops, or collaborations, Pride Socks offers unique ways to inspire change. I invite you to not just wear our socks, but wear your story, because when you walk with pride, you inspire others to do the same. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share our mission. If you want to create impact through something as simple and powerful as socks, or bring storytelling to your community or team, I'm here for it. Let's connect and keep walking proudly together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Awesome job. And I'm going to turn it over to our judges now for their feedback. And this time, Jay, we will start with you.
Okay.
Great. Great presentation, Rachel. I really love it. Again, I love the story that you shared. I wrote some notes here and I have a few questions. So there's a lot of sock companies out there, and I wanted to know from you, in your presentation, your pitching, do you share that first of all, let me ask, are the socks made of any specific material, any special materials that really is going to be a selling point when you're doing your pitches?
So we have a variety of socks. We have some that are made with mostly cotton, nylon, and we also have some athletic specific socks that are moisture wicking. So for those that are athletes, and some of those you saw in the runners or the softball players. So we do accommodate to the variety of wear and needs.
Okay. Great. And then you mentioned the deaf community in your presentation, and I just wanted to know, have you created any sock that may have any sign language, or does any of the socks have like a hidden language or hidden message in any of them that folks will, maybe one day after 2-3 wears, they realize that, there's a hidden message on their sock, and it kind of gives you joy finding out that little hidden message. Is that a unique feature of your socks?
Yeah, well, I have, so the confusing part about our brand name, which is Pride Socks, when I started it 15 years ago, it was just going to be socks, but we have added a variety of products. And so shirts is being one of them. And I don't know if you can see the shirt that I'm wearing, but it says love has no boundaries, and it's with the sign language LOVE. So this is one of the products that we produce. And actually, when my mom passed almost 5 years ago, I hired a deaf designer to represent the deaf community appropriately, not just me, because people don't know unless they read my story that I am essentially a part of the deaf community. I really wanted to enhance that by hiring a deaf and designer to not only honor the community, but also my parents. And so we have this shirt. We also have stickers that say I love the I love you hand. We have some buttons. Also, I will be collaborating with a deaf individual to create a sock together to enhance the deaf community further than what we already offer. And I did, I mean, I did have a shirt. It has, it's actually one of my absolute favorites. And sadly, it didn't sell as well, so we discontinued it. But it was a skater, and she was holding an old school jukebox. And the way that she was holding the jukebox was she had the I love you hand. So instead of holding it like this, the Easter egg was it was like this. So it had the I love you hand in it. But it's one of my favorite. So there.
Right. You answered the next question I was going to ask is how are you collaborating with the communities that you're serving, and how are you using that as a story? And the last question I have for you is, so where do you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years, and what does success look like to you?
That's the ultimate question. Everyone wants to know, like, what does success looks like for you? For the majority, it's always like how much money and how much sales. Yes, that is success for me as well. But really and honestly, when um, let me go back to answering your, where do I see the company in 3 to 5 years? 3 to 5 years, I'd love to see the company double or triple, not necessarily, but yes, for the income, but more so the visibility and what our socks represent and how people feel when they wear them. That's the biggest impact for me. And the success is when I get emails or direct messages letting me know that, my God, thank you. You literally have saved my daughter's life, or you have opened up my eyes to what my son might be going through, or, and that also goes into play. I will go to and set up a booth at, I say primarily straight events, not saying that gay people, LGBTQIA people aren't shopping there, but it's not a pride event. So I go for the visibility and to let others know that we are here. We're here for you. So should somebody want to ask me questions, it's in a comfortable setting. And that, to me, opening up that space is that success for me. And also me expanding my inspirational speaking platform, that I would love to see that expanded, at, be my primary source of income aside from Pride Socks.
Thank you so much, Jay. Great questions and great feedback. Sherry, do you want to go next?
Sure. Great presentation. It was very like emotional connection with people and the product and your backstory, and that really makes sense. So that's like your superpower, or in differentiator. So that was really good. Some feedback would be that I was like waiting in anticipation to see the socks. I know that people were wearing socks, but it was small. And it was, I don't know if it was slide 8, I don't know what slide it was, but it, like, you had only one slide of like, maybe it was 6 or I don't know how many.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
about 6 images, which is good. I would have wanted to see it somehow, like tell the personal story, and maybe you could separate. I mean, the personal stuff is important. Maybe you could have like a break in between the personal and show something, and then talk a little bit more personal about something else, and then show something, just because it is ultimately about the product. So I would
Yeah.
highlight the product more. I would have more than one slide, than because I liked the question was asked about the material. I know that people in my family want cotton mostly, like
Yeah.
they want it to breathe. And I know like you can get a premium for socks that are for athletes because they're made a certain way to, it's a more high-tech sock. So it might be good to have a sock showing different things. Also, I don't know if your socks are packaged individually, or there's, a 3-pack and they're like a variety assortment. And, I don't know how that works, but it might be good to show that those options, and maybe a range in price, maybe talk a little bit about cost, maybe talk about, like, I think I saw something with Comcast socks, you know, and are you, so I'm rallying a lot of things just to make sure that I cover it. But like in terms of distribution, do you work with like a Ballady promotion or now branding where they can, like, as part of their being a distributor kind of thing, can they contact you as one of the manufacturers and partner with you? Is there like a partnership thing, or people have to work directly with you?
People work, I don't have a distributor. I don't work with any distributors at the moment. Would I like to? Yes, but I don't. Um, so they would be working directly with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, it might be good to talk about, have a slide about what you do for corporations or for businesses, so that they know, like, the imprint area, how flexible, is it one color, is it four color, is it only in one location? Is it just, so how does that work? Could they
Okay.
customize the whole thing? I mean, I have a lot of questions
Yeah.
about the sock stuff. So, and also, you know, we all have budgets. So if you're like a business inclusion professional and you want to do a giveaway an event, you might be limited to, let's say, a $6 item. But if you have a gift for somebody, you might have, you know, if it's for clients, you might have a $10, $20 unit. And what's the volume discount? So you might want to say, you know, there are volume discounts if it's more than 100 units, you know, the price break, it drops 20% or whatever. But those are the things, like, I'm really about the sock and about what it's made of and if it breathes and how comfortable it is. I mean, you mentioned that they feel great, probably emotionally, wearing the socks, but like I would talk more about the quality of the sock and its functionality, and that, you know, it doesn't shrink because it has nylon with the blend with the core. Like, I would get a little bit more about the sock. You're selling, not only are you selling emotionally, but people want to wear comfortable socks. Is this like the sock to die for? My daughter has like a $30 sock that she got from her brother for like Hanukkah, and it's something with, like, it's not a Lululemon, it's some fancy
Yeah.
Lululemon like company, which starts with an A or something. And she's like in love with this sock. She could wear this sock at home. It like makes her happy. Do you
Yeah.
have this happy sock that just feels great to be in? So, I mean, my daughter is really passionate about this. She's crazy passionate about this sock. So, I mean, do you have that crazy passionate thing, like a really comfortable fuzzy or, you know, super soft sock that people love?
All of our socks are, yes. I mean, I don't know how, yes, everyone loves our socks. People are crazy about them. I think the superpower that we have is the emotional connection to it. When people, because we also name our products. So our socks are called Fearless, Grit, Love. So the idea is, if you're feeling like, I'm not feeling it today, you pull on your Fearless socks and you're like, oh, it's almost like a visual and tactile reminder that you are fearless. You can accomplish today and you can do it. So I mean, in our toddler tube socks, people literally will say, I bought them for my 1-year-old. They're now 7 and they're still wearing them
So
because
those are the things you want to talk about in your pitch. You want to promote the Fearless sock. You want to brand it. You want to show it on the slide. You want to talk about how the testimonial of, you know, a 1-year-old is still wearing this 6 years later. I don't know how that
The
was.
durability of it.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with both everything that Sherry and Jay said. As you're both speaking, I was like checking off my own questions. So thanks for asking those. Kind of piggybacking off of her last comment about kind of like leaning into the emotional charge, but also kind of bringing that and connecting it to the product. In your presentation, you showed like some professional athletes wearing your socks. What marketing channel or how did this come about? You've mentioned that you go to these events and that you host events yourself. But what's been your most successful kind of marketing channel to get your products out in front of your customer?
I mean, honestly, it's the development of relationships and being transparent, just being a genuine human and like forming relationships. And some of those, like you see the socks being worn at UCLA, that started 10 years ago when I started a relationship with Jason Collins, who was the first NBA player to come out as gay. that relationship then stirred into other relations because he trusted that, hey, I do what I say I'm going to do. The socks are high quality. So then he shares his community with me as well. So I see that it's a lot of that is the word of mouth and the relationship building. And some people will say, how did you get this relationship, or how did you collaborate with this individual? I started with relationships maybe 2, 3 years ago, and then it formed into a custom. See, what we do is we do custom for a cause, where I'll collaborate with an individual, we'll design a sock, and then proceeds will go to their chosen nonprofit. That way, my channel, their channel, all will have visibility towards a nonprofit that not might not necessarily have had that visibility. But we do a lot of social and newsletters as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then I guess for me as a corporation, the last question that I would have is just like, what are your minimum order quantities for an organization to work with?
A minimum order is 100 pairs, and we can do custom socks. And like Sherry was asking, like how to like the complete sock is customizable. Like there's really not anything that we can't do. It's just what style do you want, and it is obvious that that needs to be more visible, Sherry. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Great job again, and great feedback from all of our judges.
And
Thank
thank
you
you so much.
Next up, we're going to have Jeremy from Peak Promotions. So Jeremy, whenever you're ready, if you want to share your screen, I will get my timer up and you can get started whenever you're ready.
All right. Can you all see that?
Yep.
All right. And you can hear me as well too, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's see, I gotta move the screen now. All right. So when was the last time you all felt pride? Was it pride in yourself for an accomplishment? Was it pride in someone else for defying the odds? Or maybe it was pride in your heritage, who you are and where you come from. However you experienced it, pride is powerful and it deserves to be celebrated. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Favors. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the owner and CEO of Peak Promotions. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to our one-stop shop for all your branded merchandise and corporate gifting needs, designed to reflect your values, inspire connection, and elevate your brand with purpose. When it comes to branded merchandise, the possibilities are endless. But at Peak Promo, we believe in the power of branding to not only boost your business, but foster positive change. We create branded experiences that build emotional connection and drive lasting impact. Our mission is rooted in people, planet, purpose, and guided by principles of diversity, sustainability, and social responsibility. You call it merch, swag, premiums, or giveaways, but what we really deliver are tangible tools that make connections, branded products that create moments of appreciation and alignment, sparking loyalty through shared values. In a recent industry poll, 83% of people say they're more likely to do business with a brand after receiving a branded item, and 90% say it positively impacts how they feel about that brand. So let's talk about pride. This is what we're here for today, and how this all connects. For larger organizations, pride should go beyond just the rainbows. It's an opportunity to showcase your values, your authenticity, and meaningful action. The recent rise in anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, anti-diversity initiatives makes it more important now than ever to spend intentionally with diverse-owned businesses. When partnering with Peak Promo and through branded merchandise, you can show up for our community, letting them see you, who you are, what you stand for, and what you're proud of. So DC World Pride in June is expected to contribute roughly $800 million to the economy. But the question is, who is that money being spent with? As a certified LGBTBE, sorry, every dollar spent with us helps advocate economic inclusion. But here's where we differ from other promo companies. We extend your financial impact by sourcing from other diverse suppliers and tracking these metrics throughout the year. We hold ourselves accountable for intentional spending as well, providing opportunities for other diverse businesses that otherwise wouldn't normally work with organizations like yours. When you're proud of what you stand for, it should really reflect in how and where you spend. So our numbers speak for themselves. Last year, 33% of our total annual spend, that's a whole third of our business, went to diverse-owned businesses. This included women, LGBTQ+, veteran, Hispanic, and other minority-owned suppliers. Earlier, I mentioned we believe in the power of branding to foster positive change. This is exactly what we are talking about. Building that financial ecosystem that extends the impact of our client's dollar proves not only a commitment to diversity, but to true financial inclusion. This is something I'm proud of every day and something you can be a part of. So now that you know what we do and why we do it, let's talk about how we can help you. So do you currently have multiple locations placing orders? Are you collecting all their sizes or managing their shipments? Are you feeling the strain from scattered data, overspending, or inconsistent messaging? That's where we can step in. Through centralized online platforms, we simplify the process, making it easy for your team to place their orders, track deliveries, and stay on brand. And with our new print on demand option, you can provide merch with no inventory to manage or minimums to meet. Just smart, flexible solutions that help keep your events running smoothly. So we love solving problems for our clients. And last year, American Airlines was celebrating their 30th anniversary of Pride, but their budget wasn't what they were hoping for. So through our customized solutions, we were able to help find that budget. We created a pop-up shop where employees could pre-order merch before full production, and the margins paid for all costs, the setup fees, the production, and the fulfillment. This even provided additional funds that created a future budget for their inclusion group. This became a simplified solution with impressive results. But pride in your employees shouldn't be limited to 1 month, and our solutions offer year-round support. We have helped our clients build the infrastructure to celebrate events throughout the calendar year, boosting employee engagement, showing appreciation, and increasing pride within their company.
30 seconds.
Take it from them, the tech giants, to retail to distribution. We are seen as problem solvers, partners, and pride champions. Our clients don't just stay with us, they grow with us. When you spend with intention, you help create an ecosystem where underrepresented businesses can thrive. Whether it's pride or any mission-driven moment, we'd be honored to help you bring your company's pride to life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Awesome job. Loved your slides. And I'm going to turn it over to our judges for their feedback. And this time, Sherry, we will start with you.
Okay, that was really good. I thought it was very clear presentation, good visuals. I liked the whole ESG or sustainability and the responsibility thing. Have you thought about getting B Corp certified? Is that something?
Yeah, I actually have. It's a lot of work though, and especially with with being a distributor for promotional products, my resources are so vast that it's really hard to manage and to be able to put that all into a simplified version for somebody to get certified. There is a certification. I'm in the Vancouver, Washington / Portland area, and there's a certification that's in Oregon that isn't exactly B Corp, but it's along the same lines, and so that's something that I'm looking into getting. I do use, however, a lot of suppliers that are B Corp certified.
Right. So what you could do is you could add a slide to do a little bit of a deeper dive, because you mentioned the white glove, but you could actually highlight that you're experts and like maybe a couple of examples on that slide that with pictures of what other clients have done to be smart and savvy at different price ranges. So without having a B Corp certification, you showing that you're subject matter expert on this, because that's very important, optics. And also people want useful things, like not dumb things. So maybe like the most useful things that people will save that don't wind up in landfills. So that could be a really powerful thing to emphasize, because you say it, but like you want to show photos. This is the kind of thing where you're like, I liked your one example that you had like a case study and that the pop-up, that was great. But I think you could do something like that also, like just maybe show 4 or 5 images of some really smart, sustainable things at different price ranges that you've done for clients. And I think, I mean, I don't know. So you mentioned something about I really liked about you don't have to buy like 1,000 or something. You could do it like one item at a time. But what's the price? What's the cost for that? Like, does a $3 item become $5? So you might want to do a little bit about that, like, that you're again a subject matter expert and you can help decide when does that make sense? Is it for people like, is it in Amazon, or is it like a really big company that is buying they may need 20,000, but they don't want to spend 20,000 up front. So it makes sense when you do 2,000 at a time, because I'm sure it's not one at a time unless it was like a really expensive item. So I think you need a little more clarification around that. And then I would want to know how many employees you have. Do you have in-house design capabilities? Is a pop-up an online store, an e-store? I think it is, but I maybe would talk a little bit about, you have warehousing, do you have distribution? So a little bit of that. Are you a one-person company? Are you a 50-person company? And that kind of, are you global? I don't know if you talked about, geographic. So those are just things I would include to kind of differentiate your company to like that, really are amazing. Like things that it would be positive.
I appreciate that. It's funny because I actually have a whole nother pitch deck that is specifically all those things. It's just that this one was focused on pride, and so I kind of geared towards the situation. But yes, I totally get that. It's kind of hard to figure out how much you can put in 5 minutes, to hit all those points. But I appreciate that. That's great. Great feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bradley, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Great presentation, Jeremy. Really excited to learn a little bit more about you and your business. The thing that stood out to me was your comment around budget analytics. I think that for a lot of large companies like myself at United, obviously we really have to be cognizant of the way that we're spending our money, and the way that we look forward into the year, whether we're winding down or winding up on respective initiatives. That analytical portion is really helpful. So I would love to learn a little bit more about what that looks like. And then if you have any existing relationships with, in your final slide, you had relationships with Amazon, but also companies like myself. We tend to use those companies that already have business collateral. So like the Staples of the world, the Amazons of the world. And within that, we can filter on diverse and underrepresented businesses to help source from. So I would love to learn a little bit more about if you had existing relationships with those type of companies as well.
Yeah, so Staples is a big one that is basically a competitor is really what it comes down to. I have not ever worked tier two with them. It is something that I've looked into. I have worked with tier two with a couple of other event planners and stuff like that. Like for example, the first slide was T-Mobile. That was T-Mobile's Pride last year, and we work with it as tier two for them through Proscenium. I'm not sure if that's a organization any of you are familiar with. So yes is the short answer, but no is also the answer. That is not necessarily the one specific to what you described, but it is something that is actually something that I want to grow later down the road. In all honesty, this is my second year in business, and so for having some of those clients and getting that traction this early, that is something that is trying to build that out. So that is definitely on the business plan.
Cool. And then in terms of like the analytical portion of your business and the budget.
Yeah, so every time that somebody comes to us, it's a completely different story, right? There's going to be a different budget. There's going to be, and a lot of times that budget is, hey, this is the budget we have right now, and then 15 minutes later, it's a completely different budget because something happened, and that's totally doable. So we are nimble in that sense, and we really just kind of customize whatever is necessary to them. The case study for American Airlines, that was built off of a relationship for years. So I actually had kind of seen from another organization, I had seen kind of their analytics, their budget kind of deteriorate year over year. So we kind of knew what we were going into. So then that was the way that we kind of had to just focus on that. The benefit, I would say that we like really are strong on, that's probably a little bit different than some other larger, less nimble companies, is that we really can cater to, we have so many options to us that we really kind of just cater to what they specifically need and then focus on that or that specific event. I've also had the same American Airlines come to us and then place a $20,000 order for one event. So I mean, it just depends on where that budget's coming from and who is offering that budget. So
perfect. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Bradley. Jay, you want to finish it up?
Sure, great presentation, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the numbers and the attention to detail. I just have two questions. So one is what is your biggest risk? What is the biggest risk to your business, and how are you planning to mitigate that?
So right now, the current biggest risk is tariffs. You know, this whole thing with tariffs,
Mm.
and that's hitting us daily. And how we present that to our clients. In all honesty, we are very transparent. That's the first thing, is be transparent. Second thing is, if there's a lot of situations where it's a pass through, we don't try to mark up anything on this. We're all in this boat together. We're just, you know, none of us expected anything right now. So right now, that's the current biggest risk. In the long run, my biggest risk would be trying to mitigate contracts that are currently already in production. Let's say that. So all three of you, I'm sure, have contracts with some form of large corporation at this point for your promo products. Those are contracts that are locked in for a long time. And so trying to break into, hey, we are just as good, if not better, and we can offer just as much. That would be the thing that I would say in the long run is probably one of my risk, is trying to make sure that I can keep proving myself.
Great. And the only other thing that I would say, and I'm pretty sure you have this on maybe another presentation, but I would have loved to see just a catalog from a corporate side. How can I go in, and how is it easy to use, and how is it easy to navigate if I'm not in communication with you? I can just easily go in and choose what I want, or I can send it to a team and they can choose what I want. I think that is a big selling point. And the more that you can highlight that in your presentation, that would definitely help you.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, judges. Thank you so much again, Jeremy. Great job. Next up, we're going to have Craig from Crafted Culture Media. So Craig, feel free to start sharing your screen whenever you're ready. I'm gonna get my timer ready over here.
Sure,
And then you can get started anytime you're ready.
okay. Can you see that okay?
Yep, now we can.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Craig. I own a brand called Crafted. Crafted is a content to commerce craft beer brand. So we tell the stories through digital series that stream on different platforms and fast channels that tell the story of how a beverage, specifically beer, is made. Everything from the farmers to the brewers to the maltsters to the artists that do the artwork on the cans to the distribution that comes after that, and the retail and marketing. So I started this brand with a few partners of mine that I met. While I was living in New York, I worked in television production for 20 years for MTV and VH1. I was on the production management side. And then you'll see Ian and Tanisha are my two partners that I work with really closely. We also have our brewer, which is Bobby Bowen. He's the one that actually creates, packages our beer. And then a beverage ops, which happens to be my brother. He works in retail for Coca-Cola. So he helps with that end of the company. And then our brand strategist, Jeremy, he also is from the world of MTV and VH1, but works mostly for Paramount at this point. So that's all I have from my slides for the current moment. So we're currently pivoting. We started the company as a collaboration company. So we would go to brewers, we would do sort of this documentary series about them that would result in the release of this craft beer. And they sort of controlled that end of it. We would get a percentage of it. So in order to sort of up our margins and invest in ourselves and invest in our brand, Crafted, we decided to start making our own beer and start making shows about how we put it all together. And our first, I'm not sure if you can see, but our first beer is this one. Came out about a month and a half ago. It's called Citrus Sea Burst. It is a citrus lager that has real citrus juices in it, so orange, lemon, and lime juices. And it's now currently available in all Total Wine stores throughout the state of Florida. We're very lucky and fortunate to get into the stores throughout the state. We're currently only available in the state of Florida. We're also in some smaller mom and pop shops as well. So we're going to take this flagship Citrus Seaburst and spin it. It's a bright, clean, full flavored beer. It's low ABV, which is the amount of alcohol in it. And we're going to launch a series of beers based after this called Juicy Beers. We'll keep the same lager base as this one, and then switch out the fruit juices. So we have a guava, lemon, and lime one, a guava, lemon, and pineapple one that's coming, and then a tropical fruit punch version as well. So our margins have been really healthy over the last couple of months. We're looking at more retail outlets right now, like Sprouts, Whole Foods. And then we're also, because we're based in Florida, going to move into the world of tourism. So we're looking at cruise ships and resorts and talking with Disney and Royal Caribbean and all the cruise ships that sort of leave out of the state. And right now, the path to scale is very clear. We're just going to do more content, keep producing more series. We do a lot of crossover, like mini episodes where we pair chefs that create dishes to go with our beers as well. We want to put out a lot of new flavors over the next couple of years, and then of course wider distribution, and eventually someday into other states as well. So right now I'm just seeking some strategic partners and investment. I've bootstrapped this on my own very well, but I'm getting to a point if we really want to start scaling, we're going to need some outside investment. So I appreciate any feedback, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Craig. Great job. And we're going to get the judges up here in a second for their feedback as well. And this time we are going to have Jay start us off.
Craig, so it's Friday, so definitely I'm I'm loving that there is a alcoholic beverage or a beverage starting off the Friday. The first thing I will say is, you know, more slides is going to be your friend. I was a little bit disappointed when you said that was the only slide that you have. I initially wrote that, I'm glad that you were showing the expertise of your team and the experience that they have. I think that's great in terms of building trust and building, what's the word I'm looking for, credibility. And so that's great. But when you stopped there, I was like, oh man, I wish you had more. So that being said, I wish you had a slide on the flavors that you offered, right? Or for instance, if you're pitching to a company or you're pitching to, a market or an event, hey, we can make a specific flavor for your event. I think that would have been great, or I think that can be great in terms of your pitch moving forward. So that's something to take in mind. I love that you talked about you're in Total Wine stores in Florida, and that you mentioned how you are going to scale with Whole Foods and the cruise ships. That's great. I do think that you should also add a slide that speaks to you said in the end that you're looking for partnerships, or you're seeking partnerships. I think that you need to add a slide on how will partners benefit from partnering with you? What is it that you can give to them? And that's to end your presentation. I think that's great. Now I have about 2 questions I wrote down here for you. And so what sets your beer apart in terms of the flavor, the ingredients, or the brewing techniques?
Sure. The current trend in beer, and it's been a trend for a long time, are IPAs, which are very hoppy and bitter. They do have a juicy flavor that comes from the hops. Our beer specifically is still full of flavor. It's a lager. It's brewed differently. It takes up to 4 to 6 weeks to brew this beer. And we're also putting in real fruit juices and boiling in the rinds from those fruits into the beer. And a lot of people don't do that right now with lagers, even though that's sort of where the trends are trajecting right now. They're headed in that direction. So
You need to highlight that a little bit more in your presentation, your uniqueness. The word is slipping me right now. Your differentiator, that's what we use in the industry. What is your differentiator? And if you're able to highlight that a little bit more, I think that's going to be extremely beneficial for you and the team.
Thank you.
One other question I have is, so who is your target market, and how are you engaging them? You know, whether it's within the LGBT community or beyond.
It's definitely beyond. There's very few brewers from the LGBTQ community, and also, so our target audience is the sweet spot as far as age is concerned is 25 to 45, 55, is sort of where our target is. I like to say we target normal people, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like people who like to enjoy beer after work, or when they go on a cruise, you know, a cruise ship, they enjoy a beer that's paired with food. We definitely like to elevate the experience for sort of the everyday person when it comes to drinking a beer, and not just looking at it as something that you're going to go out and party with your friends and you know, get drunk with.
And that's good for sustainability, I think. And then my last question is, so what is your current production capacity? And are you managing your demand versus your scalability?
Yeah, that's something I had to teach myself over the last year. You know, I come from a world of TV production, reality programming, and really odd programming for MTV. But learning sort of how to balance that is a challenge that we're up against right now. We've started with 30 barrels of this beer to start, and things are measured in barrels in the world of craft beer. And one barrel equals about 10 cases of beer, which is 24 beers per case, so 240 beers. So that times 30 is what we started with. We have almost sold out of that first round, and if we expand into any other retail outlet, especially if we go to a cruise ship, we're going to have to increase it significantly. Our current partner can do up to 60 barrels at a time, but there is a facility about an hour outside of Orlando, which is sort of the area that we're in, that can do up to, I think, 900 barrels at a time, and as few as 200 barrels at a time. So we've sort of looked into that whole process and how we'll end up scaling when we need to.
Thank you so much, Jay. Sherry, do you want to go next?
Sure. So, because I'm at AMC Network, so I was, when your presentation, I'm like, when you first started, plus it's very interesting for me because I understand like the whole thing with documentaries and this and that. And you mentioned you're on fast channels. So my first question was, what are you more of? Are you more of a production documentary provider, or are you more of a beer provider? And so who are you? So is it 50-50? Is it 30-70? Like, what do you aspire to be? And then like that could be helpful to come across on your slides. So I do agree with Jay, you definitely need more slides. So I would first maybe break it up. I would say like we're two things. And then I would say, okay, this is us as a documentary around, if you're like beer lovers, people are fascinated by beer. I went on a beer tour in Milwaukee and they had, you know, the we're gonna do it. What's that show? They made us sing that song on the beer tour.
Laverne and Shirley.
Laverne and Shirley. They
Yeah.
had the actual thing from the Laverne and Shirley show. They bought
Yeah.
this brewery bought it, and every time we got to that location, they made the people sing that song. Anyway, I digress, but I thought it was fascinating to learn how beer was made. And it sounds like your show does this, and you know, nobody needs to know, well, what your money situation, like how you profited on that. They really want to probably hear more detail on the show. Why is it amazing? Why should I watch this? And are you trying to sell the show? How many episodes do you have? How many, you know, is this in year 5? Like, I wanted to know, I had burning questions. I want to know about the show, and I wanted to know about the type of beer that you highlighted. You could have a slide just talking about first season and second season. This is what we covered, the diversity of beer. You'd be like, people love beer. I don't personally like beer, but I like the story behind the beer. So I could see myself, how is it made? They have all these shows. So it sounds like how is it made around beer? So my question, you don't have to answer this, is a rhetorical question, is, are you also trying to sell this to like a Netflix, to a Amazon Prime, to an AMC Networks, So that's what I wanted to know. And I would want to know slides about it, because if it's a fast channel, doesn't mean that's the only place it could be. Like, you could have lots of deals. We have lots of deals with we sell stuff to Netflix, we partner with different companies and stuff like that. Our stuff is on like 50 different universe out there, platforms. So that's one thing. And then so I would want to know more about the documentary, and it helps when you have in a pitch, in a deck, so you can follow along and visually learn, and besides just hearing it. So so when you say fast channel, so where would someone see your show? Like the documentary, like I would explain more about that, because that to me sounds important. Are you fine the way things are, or you want to grow that? Is that a goal? And then with the beer, I'm kind of not a beer lover, so I kind of like my like wimpy beer. Like, I'll drink like a Corona with a lime, and I, kind of like a cool, refreshing beer. So if I'm like hot and there's only beer, I want beer because I'll take a beer and drink it because it's cold, but I don't want a really strong. Women taste buds typically, like, there's a gender difference between men and women taste buds. So my question would be around, are you trying to make this a luxury beer? Is it, if you push too much that it's, for women, then it might turn off the macho men. But is it a more of a summer refreshing beer? Is it in hot weather? You're in Florida, so that could be like a no-brainer. It's great, it's tasting, it's fruity. You mentioned low alcoholic content. Some people want to drink beer, they want a nice buzz. So I would definitely stay away from the word normal. That was a little bit triggering for me, but I would want to know, like, because sometimes I need a buzz. I had a really rough day, I want to go home and get a buzz. I'm not going to choose your beer because it's a I'm not, if I have a rough day, I want a little bit of something. If I'm going to get calories, you didn't talk about the calories either. Is there a light version? So as a woman, I'm worried about, am I going to get fat on your beer? I would rather have a low calorie beer with a little bit more buzz that's fruity. So I need to know more about, why should I buy your beer? That's what I'm trying to say. As a woman, maybe men think differently, I don't know. But as a woman, I'm worried about calories. I want the buzz. So maybe I would do that if I was at a party and I don't need the buzz. I just want like a cool, refreshing drink. So think about the market. I think you need to do a deeper dive. Why should there's a million beer. I had to buy beer for my spouse in the thing. And I'm like, I don't know what to buy. There's like a million choices. I loved that your beer sounded like fruity and refreshing and unique. And I would definitely want to play up that and have that in slides. And then what do you do if it gets too popular? You definitely need to shift. So I was just thinking about, you got to get this beer beyond Florida. So is that like a goal of yours to like be making 900 barrels at a time and getting that through all the 50 states?
Yeah. I mean, the goal just in Florida is to produce between 15 and 30,000 barrels of beer just in Florida.
Okay, so you
And
want to
then,
do the Florida market. That's your goal first.
no, that's where we first want to take over, and then Southern California is another logical location for me. I am a New Yorker at heart, so I think about the summers in Coney Island and Howard Beach. There's different types of beach scenarios all over the country. Texas is another big beer market that we've looked at, in Chicago as well.
So I
The legalities of distributing beer is tricky. That's all.
Yeah, I would just think about, how do you sell this as like, is this the cool, classy beer that you want to have it at your party, that you're in the cutting edge of beer purchases. So again, I'm not like what if I do have to buy beer for a party, I would be like, oh, that's the cool beer that I should buy, or people gonna like it because it's like refreshing. I want to know more about what your brands, how you're branding this. So people, because there's a million choices, why should they pick up your beer? So it's got to be beyond it's LGBTQ owned. You know, you want, it sounds like you want men, women, so understanding, is it low calorie? Is it low sugar? Is it like it has some alcohol, but it's not to get trashed? It's so you have to say that in a very savvy way. But what I'm saying is, like, I think you have to sound like amazing product. You just have to articulate it and have a pitch that like cuts the chase. Like, so of course I'm going to pick up that beer when I'm at the store because it's just so unique and amazing. And why?
Thank you so much,
Gotcha.
Sherry.
Thank you. Yeah.
And Bradley, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, for sure. Again, great presentation. I agree with Craig and Sherry that I think there should have been a little bit more slides. I was hungry for more information on both sides of the business. From the kind of production side of the business, I thought it was a really interesting way to kind of frame beer. As someone who is not a beer drinker myself, I would love to learn a little bit more about beer. And as someone who also consumes media in a faster format, so I think Instagram Reels, TikToks, things like this, if you're already developing like the content for longer form, it could be also helpful to kind of push this to a younger generation who could be potential future drinkers of your product. So just kind of think about that as well. And then also kind of double down on Sherry's comment about your customers, like let's figure out who your customer is and really get a good understanding of who they are so that you can start to push content to them, figure out the ways and the products that they like, and kind of cater your product specifically to them so they're coming to you as their first choice. And then additionally, if there was an opportunity to potentially broaden that service and kind of bring it into other industries outside of craft beer. Like I know there's a growing service for seltzers. We're also seeing a growing resurgence in cannabis. So like applying this same mantra, if you will, to different industries could be a great revenue generator for that arm of the business as well. So just things to think about. Obviously, it's your business. You do with it what you see fit. But I thought it was a really interesting perspective. I've never really thought about that before. So something to consider.
Great, I appreciate it. And there is a much longer deck, just so you
Oh,
can see.
okay.
It's about 15 pages long. It was just too much for me to show in 5
Okay.
minutes. So
All good.
Thank you so much, judges, and thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Nick, Craig. That was great. Last but certainly not least, we have Corey from PESB. So Corey, if you have a presentation you're going to be sharing, you can go ahead and share your screen. I'm going to get my timer up here and you can get started whenever you are ready.
Real quick, I'm from Eshava LLC, not PESB. That's my day job. So I need to correct that. I apologize. That's my.
Gotcha. Sorry about that.
Okay, all right. Am I sharing my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay, just 1 second. Okay, here we go. All right, all right. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Well, merhaba, this is Koray Links, owner of Eshava LLC and Koray Beauty Perfumes, which is a subsidiary of Eshava LLC. I'm a first-generation immigrant who came to this country with pretty much nothing and set up this company recently with pretty much limited sources. And being a first-generation immigrant, I want to give you a disclaimer. So when I say words like factory, I do not mean that I'm cussing out someone named Tori. It means a building with people in it. So, and I think I might have made some mistakes already. So on that note, I want to move on to our mission. Our mission is on intentional positivity and, oops, sorry. I forgot to stop. That is pretty much my conceptual framework, intentional positivity, being and wearing who you are. And it is literally can be a matter of life and death, and this is what I'm trying to promote with the broader community living in these difficult times. And through Scent, I am inviting you to reconnect with your memories and emotions as a place to begin with this mission. And a scent is more than a sniff. It is a way that you are wearing and being yourself. And this is what I want to promote. So, and on reconnecting your memories and being yourself and wearing yourself, I have Poolside Reverie to promote community and intentional positivity. This one came with an idea of a poolside hanging out, a positive memory with my friends, and at a sunset. And as you see, the logo here is, it represents like the sunset, and it is giving you a positive vibe. And on that note, how do you wear yourself? And this is particularly important because we do not have too many opportunities to wear ourselves and be ourselves. As Karl Marx stated way back in the days that you cannot represent yourself and you must be represented by someone else, when he was talking about the Orient and the exotic. And I believe that we can challenge that idea by wearing and being ourselves, and starting with scent. Again, as a one-person company, I did pretty much everything beyond the manufacturing phase. And my mission is to promote intentional positivity, wearing yourself and being yourself, and adding to the story. And this Lawn Flamingo is a place to start and connect your artsy side to our community. I am asking you to take a screenshot or print it, and I also invite you to take a leap of faith and try one of my products, and just represent it, express what feelings it evokes, or what memories it brings, and put this on this flamingo and send it back to me as an image, as a picture, so that I can promote your art on my website. My eventual goal is to open a brick and mortar store where I sell my beauty products and perfumes. And also, in addition to products on the shelves and on the walls, I would like to connect with the local community and promote their artwork as well, and promote art, mental health, and intentional positivity. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you so much for it. Great job. And then for the last time today, I will go ahead and turn it over to our judges. And Bradley, if you want to start us off this time, the floor is yours.
For sure. Great job, Kurde. This is an amazing presentation. I'm a massive fragrance fan myself, so this one really hit home for me. I wish I would have learned a little bit more about the actual product, though. You put on the screen come with some of the notes that were in the fragrances, but I would have learned to learn a little bit more about the product itself. Like, tell me, is the atomizer like next to none? Because when you're applying fragrances, that is a part of the experience. When you're spraying it on yourself, am I being squirted on like in a water hose, or is that nice like enveloping way that the fragrance is being applied to my skin? And then also kind of tell me a little bit more about like the wear time, the sillage of this product. Like, sell me on the experience of the fragrance that you're trying to get me to purchase, because that is the biggest thing that the wearer is going to remember, and the folks that walk by you and interact with you is going to remember is, do you radiate a fragrance that is positive and clean and fresh, or whatever it is the scent that you're going for. So I would say kind of focus more on that in your presentation. And then also I would love to learn more about like how you're making this product. Where are you sourcing your oils from, and what is the oil to alcohol ratio? Like that all kind of signals to me and tells the story that this product is comparable to XYZ other products within the market. So again, great presentation. I just want a little bit more of a refinement into the product itself. And so that way, especially considering we can't smell the products right now, you really have to kind of provide us with that information and kind of tingle our senses with your words in order for us to get our interests piqued, if that makes sense.
Thanks so much, Bradley. Jay, do you want to go next?
Sure. Like Bradley said, great presentation. A few notes I have here is that I also would love for you to speak more to the fragrance. I would have loved to hear if there were male versus female scents and what that looks like or smells like. Again, giving us the experience. It's interesting that we started off, today with the sense of smell, and we're ending with the sense of smell. So it'll been great to know, as a male, you can do this, or however you see yourself. We have more masculine, let me not say as a male, but we have more masculine sense and more feminine sense, and we have some sense in between. And if you had given us that experience, that would have been great. To the point, would have loved to hear how would have loved to hear what are your approach to the formulation process, right? Are your scents being created in-house, or is it through a perfumer, or is it co-developed within the labs? I was also trying to figure out who was your ideal customer, and how are you positioning your brand to resonate with them emotionally, and aesthetically as well. And, I wanted to also know what makes your perfume unique. Are you using any rare ingredients, any sustainable practices, or are there any specific storytelling angles? I really do. Initially, when you started off with the pink flamingo, I was like, but then when you went on and said, bring it back to me, I saw what you were trying to do there. And I like that idea of, if you're engaging your customer to do something, put it on there, send it back to you, and you can post that, and that you can use that as marketing. So I really enjoyed that. I would say leave the video or music, remove the music at the start. It's sometimes you don't have a lot of time when you're doing your presentation, and it kind of cut into the time that you had for your presentation. So remove that, because it didn't really have a great impact on your presentation. But overall, I loved it. Like Bradley said, would have loved to have that experience where we're not able to smell it, but would have loved to gain that experience from the presentation. But well done.
Thank you so much, Jay. And Sherry, you can wrap it up.
This is a hard one for me because I have a really sensitive sense of smell. So I have to absolutely love it. It's such an individual, unique thing. When, years ago, they'd have like smells in magazines, and you could smell something like some kind of piece of paper. You get an idea. Do I love it? Do I not love it? And then, then if you love that smell, you could buy something online. So the challenge is because it's a sense, and it's so unique to everyone. And I saw a poolside reverie. Does it smell like chlorine? Does it smell like suntan lotion? Is it coconut? I mean, you did list some of those like ingredients or something, but I'm not a connoisseur. I just want to know, does it smell like, like candles? When you can say lemongrass, people know what that is, or, it smells like cotton, like you kind of can, like, you're an expert at candles, because there's like a repeating, a wood smell, or this smell, more everyday lingo that people could kind of make a connection. So I think if there's a way that you can what does poolside really mean? What is the midnight and romantic? And, again, is it more of a feminine smell or masculine smell or androgynous smell? So I think that could help your pitch. I agreed with what everyone else said. I think it's the kind of thing that even if you don't have a storefront, maybe you can sell it like at a fair or an in person where you're handing out samples. And I think it's one of those things like even if something's on TV with a famous actress walking in her like nothing in her lingerie, I'm not buying her product. I have to smell it. So it's for me, it's a challenge. And I think for what you do, giving out samples like of the smell and getting like the sales in just like what they do in the department stores. But the reality is maybe you start locally and then once you get a customer, then they can order online. So it's just a hard item for me personally because my sense of smell, I might as well be like a dog where I have like 100 times the regular person. I have like superhuman smelling things. So but it was a good job doing it, what with the slides that you did. But maybe use more layman terms or and then also about the cost. I don't know if it's a $10 item, $100 item. And so what makes your product more innovative or different that someone would buy your product versus one that's already in a department store or at Sephora or at CVS. So I'm not sure how you're positioning it, who the audience is. Is it young? Is it old? Is it like vacation-y? I don't know what I haven't picked up. So whatever you could do to further describe, I know poolside, but I'm not poolside now. So is it only when I'm on vacation I should buy your product? Or is it like when I'm going to work? Because like every day I go to work, I just use like a lotion that smells good, like olive smell. That's the only thing I could stand. Like if I sit next to somebody wearing something too strong, if I hug somebody or just kiss them, I can smell that for like an hour later, and it's troubling to me. Like I don't want to smell like the person I'm kissing. If I kiss hello or hug, and then I have it on me for like an hour or two. Like my brother-in-law, I had his fragrance, which was too strong, and then I smelled it for 2 hours. I was like sick. So anyway, so that's just from a perfume. It's such an individual thing. How would you manage that when you're talking about selling it in a presentation, and if there's a way you can sample it for others so in real time, and then maybe they love it and buy it. So that would be my advice.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you so much, judges. Thank you, Corey. Great job. And I know that we are right at 5 o'clock here. So before we hop off, I'm just going to share a couple of announcements for some upcoming NGLCC events. So first, I just want to share a little bit about NGLCC's annual International Business and Leadership Conference. So this year it's going to be taking place from August 18th to 22nd in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Bellagio Hotel and Casino. So the conference is a global event. It brings together business professionals, industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and academics to discuss emerging trends, challenges, innovations in business and leadership. So the conference includes keynote speeches, panel discussions, networking sessions, workshops, matchmakers, and we're going to drop the link to register for conference in the chat. There's also more information about conference on our website, so feel free to check that out as well. We're also hosting our next Heritage Month event next month for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So that's going to be taking place on Thursday, May 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll also drop the link to register for that in the chat. And then finally, our next Sip and Pitch Friday will be taking place on Friday, May 30th at 3:30. So we'll see you again next month for more Sip and Pitch. We'll be back to just 3 suppliers next month, and we'll have a little bit more time for networking and everything at the end. But I just want to say once more, thank you so much to our presenters today, Erica, Rachel, Jeremy, Craig, Corey. You all did fantastic. It was so great to learn more about your businesses. And of course, thank you so much to our incredible judges. You really pulled your weight today with all 5 of these businesses and gave some really great feedback. So thank you so much, Bradley, Jay, and Sherry for being here to judge. And thank you all for being here and have a great weekend.